23-year-old Amari Johnson was waiting for some friends outside of an apartment building in La Mesa when Officer Matthew Dagus started questioning him. This was in May of 2020, just 2 days after the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis. And what happened next would become a local flashpoint in the broader reckoning over racial justice. Johnson, who was black, answered the officer's questions. That's when Dagus, who was white, grabbed Johnson's shirt. The exchange was captured on the officer's body camera.
You look goofy as hell, bro. Stop touching me, bro.
Dagus then pushed Johnson onto a concrete bench multiple times before arresting him.
I have no reason to be detained by you, bro.
Sit down.
Bro, stop.
Sit down.
Bystander video of the incident went viral. Days later, the city of La Mesa was engulfed in protests that turned into riots. Johnson was never charged. Dagus, meanwhile, was fired after an internal investigation found he made false statements in his arrest report. Then, last year, he lost his statewide peace officer certification for good. That means he can no longer be a cop anywhere in California. Dagus did not respond to multiple requests for comment. Johnson recently told KPBS he was relieved that Dagus had lost his badge.
I was hoping that he wasn't going to be able to be an officer anywhere else. But honestly, with knowing my experience with him, he was just going to go ahead and do the same thing to somebody else in a different area.
Several years ago, state lawmakers created a system for decertifying officers who commit acts of serious misconduct or are convicted of certain crimes. The law aimed to address the so-called wandering officer problem, where some cops would bounce from one department to another, leaving behind a trail of bad behavior.
We're hoping to bring forth a fair and equitable and transparent way of removing officers who have broken the law, broke public trust.
Stephen Bradford is the former state senator who authored the legislation. California, at the time, was one of few states without a decertification process. Bradford says the state needed to catch up.
There's bad doctors, there's bad teachers, there's bad elected officials. We have to accept the fact that there are bad police officers.
The decertification system launched in 2023. From the start, it was inundated with misconduct reports and complaints. Some incidents went back decades. So far, the state has decertified nearly 300 officers. Many others have had their certifications suspended while being investigated. So accountability under the law is happening, albeit slowly. There are still over 18,000 open cases.
And so that's just a massive number of reports to sift through.
Anne Marie Del Manayo is with the California Commission on Peace Officer Standards and Training, or POST. The commission is in charge of both certifying and decertifying officers. But POST has struggled to hire investigators. That's created a backlog of cases. The result could mean justice delayed or justice expired.
The concern with that is that we have a statute of limitations. So from the time the agency submits their final report to POST, we have 3 years within which we have to complete our review and make a determination.
If that statute of limitations expires, bad cops might remain on the force. Del Manayo says POST is working to make the process more efficient, but police accountability advocates are worried. Michali Woodson is the legal director for the San Diego-based organization Pillars of the Community.
Any step towards holding those bad actors accountable is progress and a success, even if that doesn't feel like enough for our community members. It is a step in the right direction. But I do know that there's so much more that needs to be done.
Woodson says any delay in punishing bad officers could further erode trust with communities that already distrust the system. Scott Rodd, KPBS News.